Alright, there's just a few more features we're going to look at today. Then you're going to get a chance to practice with each of these. We've looked at how to change the way your text looks. Now we're going to look at some features that help change the way our text is placed on the screen. So, if this is my title, you'll see up here there are several options for how to arrange where my text sits on the screen. Right now it is justified to the left, and I'm going to type that so you know what that says and what that means. Alright, if I want to change this and make my text justified to the center, or essentially center my text, I just click this button up here. Now it'll center it. Now my text is justified to the center. I can do the same thing and align it to the right, or justified to the right. And that's essentially the easiest way to make sure if you're centering something that it's actually in the middle of the page. A lot of times what I've seen students do is they'll justify their text over to the left and then they'll space it like this, and it's not a good way to do it. You'll see in the future why you might have issues with that. It might not be perfectly justified, and then when you add some other settings it might throw it off. It just leads to problems. So if you're going to center something, you want to use the buttons up here in particular. If it's over to the left, keep it over to the left. If you need to center it, just click on the center button. That's going to be the best way, especially if you're using titles and other text that you want to make sure is perfectly centered. You want to go ahead and use it that way, as opposed to going to the left and then putting spaces in, like I've seen people do. So I'm going to leave my text justified to the center. This is a title, so I'm going to capitalize the two main words. And then I'm going to go down here and show you if I were to have some body text. So say I'm typing a paper and I want to indent my first paragraph. I use Tab to indent. The Tab key will indent what I'm typing. I don't need to use the space bar at all, and that way I've got everything where it needs to be. Alright, so I'm going to type for a bit here so I have more than one line, because I want to show you how to space things properly. Sometimes your teachers may ask you to double space a paper, and I'll show you what that means and what it looks like. How to double space a paper if a teacher asks for that formatting. Normally when, I'm just going to put in some random characters here as well. Normally when you do a paper, your teacher's going to ask you to double space it. There's several reasons for this. It's easier to read when something is double spaced. And also if the teacher wants to add comments, it's easier to add the comments if it's double spaced. So right now our spacing is single spaced. There is no space between these lines. When we refer to spacing, I'm going to go ahead and start a new paragraph. Spacing refers to the space between the lines, not between the letters. Alright, so if I need to double space this paper, I'm going to highlight what needs to be double spaced, and I go up to here where it says line spacing. I click on that and I can change it to 1.5 or double. This is what double spacing looks like. It might look funny that things are spaced out this much, but when you're doing papers, especially in college, generally the teachers are going to ask you, your professors are going to ask you to double space what you're doing. And so that's the easiest way to do it, so that way you don't have to hit enter after every time you get to a new line. You just go, you type, and then you can change your spacing. This is what 1.5 looks like. This is double space. I'm going to change it back to single. You can see it's a lot more bunched up. It's a little bit more difficult to see. Okay? For a few more settings, you can click here. We know if we want to add numbers or bullets, we go here. There are different options. If you click on the arrows, what you want your numbers to look like. For your bullets, same thing. If you want it to look like a checkbox, you can do that. There are different options here that you can choose from. If you have a list and say I want to have a bullet point, say this one here, I want it to be indented. You can use this tab up here to indent. or pull the indent back. That's what these options are for here. So that's essentially all of the different ways to format your paper, the basics anyway. We're going to get some practice on this today, and your exit ticket is going to force you to use these different options and follow some instructions to get this information turned in and show me that you know how to use these.